Greetings, everyone. Hey, how you doing? It's Matt Sella. Today, we are doing a spoiler talk movie review for Sony Pictures Animation's latest distributed animated movie, Wish Dragon, which premiered in the States on Netflix. That's right, folks. We're talking about Wish Dragon, the latest animated feature to come from Sony Pictures Animation. But hey, I'm not alone. I'm actually joined here with a good friend of mine. She's able to join us via satellite radio all the way from the other side of the animation table. You know her, you like her, maybe, I don't know. She's a good friend of mine. It's Mirella. How you doing out there, Mirella?
I'm doing great. How about you, Matt?
I'm doing fantastic, super ready to talk about this. So I say, let's get into it, eh?
Awesome.
Now, before we begin, folks, may I remind you, here on the Matt Sella podcast channel, we like to talk about animation, either in movies or TV. So be sure to subscribe to this channel. Ring that bell if you enjoy reviews just like this. Like, share, do all that, whatever helps to support doing this, because we like to talk about animation and the impact they have on the industry or general audiences, whatever. Anywho, as a reminder, this will be a spoiler talk review, so if you have not seen Wish Dragon, please save this video for later. Otherwise, you have been warned. Spoilers ahead. Y'all ready? Then here we go. So I will try to keep this brief, Mirella. What is the plot for this movie? It's simple. Jin is a working class college student who dreams to reunite with his childhood friend Lina, who moved away from the neighborhood 10 years ago after her father started a successful business and went off to live the lavish life. And so he hopes that he can somehow reunite with her, but perhaps him still not living the high life, it's a difficult barrier to get around. And during a job, he's randomly given a jade teapot which possesses a all-powerful wish dragon who can grant him 3 wishes. And thus, the journey begins at reuniting with his childhood friend, learning valuable lessons about friendship, wealth, and all that stuff that you might come to expect from an Aladdin-like movie. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves, folks. I'm gonna hand the reign over to you, Mirella. What were some of your major takeaways from this movie?
So I really enjoyed this movie. It was really cute, really fun to watch, and I especially loved the dragon. I loved the animation on him. He was really cute, cuddly, but fearsome at the same time. And I really enjoyed I just wanted to go in really quick about like the animation. It was really pretty and like smooth arcs and, you know, good character designs, and there was just a lot of visual appeal in the designs and in the acting.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I feel like the animation is definitely the strong point of this movie. I liked a lot of the subtlety in the acting that you pointed out, especially with Long, the dragon.
Yeah, he was so much fun. Oh, all of the facial acting and the eyes and the hand gestures were so much fun.
I really feel like in this, at least in the English version of this movie, which I'm not really sure what the native language is for some of these areas. I do believe it's Mandarin Chinese, as this movie came out in China on January 15th, while here in the US, or at least internationally, it came out June 11th. I feel like John Cho, who plays the voice of Long, the all-powerful wish-granting dragon, he really stole the movie for me. I liked his delivery, his snarkiness, his sarcastic, like, okay, can we hurry this up kind of attitude. It really worked for me for this kind of character.
Yeah, same here. I also really enjoyed the back and forth between Long and Din. I know it's been done before by Aladdin, but it was just a lot of fun to see that kind of naive person go up against this eternal being, or so we think, that is all-knowing, has seen so many things, and I personally am a sucker for that kind of arc, so I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And to kind of get this out of the way, folks, yes, this movie clearly is inspired by Aladdin, or at least the idea behind it. But what I really liked about this movie, as we quickly get into it, because like, yes, for the first quarter of the movie, it feels like it's a retelling of the Aladdin story, but in a contemporary Chinese setting. But I like the idea that one of the major takeaways I got from this movie in terms of the story is, I don't know the proper terminology for this, Mirella, but one thing that I remember learning in college when it comes to stories in animation is there are stories, obviously, where you have the hero go through a journey, whether, well, mostly an emotional journey of growing, that they become a different person by the end, a stronger person. Usually, that's the typical hero's journey type thing. But occasionally there are movies out there that actually has the main character remain the same throughout, and it's the people around that character who change, who become better. One example I remember hearing about this is Pixar's Bug's Life, where Flick always came up with cool inventions to kind of help his colony harvest food more efficiently. But everyone around him was a bit conservative to change. And even though, yes, it was Flick's fault that caused the food to not get delivered, he kind of has to like make things up for it, but he is still essentially the same character. And I like that this movie, Wish Dragon, Din is very much, he already knows what's the right thing to do. And there's a certain like childlike naivete about him, but you can tell his intentions are pure and he does care about a lot of people. And it's his personality that really brings out the best out of Long in the end. So that really made me appreciate how different that was.
Yeah, same here. I was just going to point out that literally everyone else changed and had changed by the end of the movie, both physically and emotionally. And so it is interesting to see the main character not change, but he is challenged throughout in the movie. So I think that is a very important part, that he's not just this one note kind of thing. He has his ups and downs, and I think that's why we become attached to him.
So I think narratively speaking, I really enjoyed this movie. It was a very simple story, but like I said, it was Aladdin, but it had its own twist on it, kind of tackling themes about, is wealth all you need, or is there more to life than just attaining that? Family, friends, love, the moments that you share with people. Genuine things like that is definitely a moral idea that's tackled in this movie. To kind of get this quickly out of the way, folks, I'm not going to try to get too much into it, but this movie also has an interesting commentary when it comes to capitalism. Before we got into this recording, Mirella, you were kind of mentioning some things you kind of thought about that as well with this movie, correct?
I mainly thought about how this movie was trying to comment on hustle culture and how Din has to like hold up 3 jobs and study all the way through and, try not to fail his classes because he keeps missing them in order to buy a nice suit just to see this girl. So there was a lot of commentary about like hustle culture and also about capitalism and is money everything, and how can you be realistic in current modern society where you need money to survive and you need to have a certain amount of wealth to move up in status and get things that you want. And I think this is something that I think the movie, for me at least, didn't quite live up to my expectations. I think it didn't quite make a big enough stand for me in terms of between the relationship between Lena and Din, where we just kind of, the movie felt like it was trying to say something between their relationship and trying to pull them together as just beyond friends, but then at the last minute she pulled away from him and we couldn't really tell if it was because of his financial status or if because she was conflicted about the situation around her. But I think to just counter my own argument, I think Long's story about how he made a mistake as a human in thinking that wealth and power is everything pulled everything together for me. I just think that the weakest part was between Lena and Din and what exactly the movie was trying to say in terms of hustle culture and capitalism.
I certainly agree with those points for sure. And for me personally, like I said, it might be a little controversial me bring it up. I think the movie generally speaks over capitalism in just modern society, no matter if you're in China or the US or anything like that. It's a very tricky subject, but this movie, it doesn't take a definitive stand, as you once put it, by the end of this movie. But it kind of takes the middle of the road approach when it comes to certain things. But I guess that's not entirely the focus of the movie. Whereas the true lesson comes from what Long realizes. He has to serve under 10 masters and learn the meaning of life, or what's important, and yet he hasn't learned any of that until he met Din. So I think that's where the strength of the narrative comes from. But the ancillary things that we were talking about here, it's a little hard to judge. I really think it depends on your personal perception of the whole idea of capitalism versus dare I want to say, appreciate the lessons and the simpler things in life.
Yeah, and maybe a middle of the road approach is a lot better, and maybe my view is kind of bringing my own experiences too much into it. But yeah, I agree with you.
It's tough. We're both adults. We have complicated lives. We tend to overthink things. Maybe we're overthinking things, but maybe that's the point. Maybe this movie wants us to think about those things.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I definitely feel like this is one of the strongest animated movies I've seen this year. Although I was thinking about it, I actually haven't seen much. I mean, unless you could remind me of one, Mirella, I think the only other 2021 anime movie I've seen was Mitchell's vs. the Machines, which is still my favorite so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Absolutely. Although there's other animated movies on the horizon.
That's right, folks. We got Luca on the way, which after watching Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Pixar's got its work cut out for them, because Mitchell's vs. Machine was a big surprise for me. I think Mirella and I, along with Mark, we reviewed that movie, so definitely go check that out, our review for it. It's going to be interesting. Is this a Best Animated Feature winner? No. But I definitely think this movie is worth watching. There are some great emotional beats in this movie. It's fun, great animation, very expressive. I definitely recommend Wish Dragon.
And same here. A lot of fun. Would watch it again, 100%.
Well, you heard our opinion, folks, but now we want to hear yours. Let us know in the comment section below, what did you think of Sony Pictures Animation's Wish Dragon? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Share your thoughts. Join the conversation. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, ring that bell to be notified when new videos drop. And if you want to support me directly, consider going to my Patreon. Or if you want to watch me do some animation, follow me on Twitch. I usually stream every Saturday. Links are in the description below. This is Matt Sella.
And this is Mirella.
Thanking you all for tuning in. I don't know why I try to change that.